So tonight we start with talking about our two dangerous corridors that are converging, one across our eastern border and the other hidden in plain sight across our hospitals, clinics and professional networks. Let's start with Bangladesh. In a stunning statement, Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajeeb Wazed, has warned that under the new regime, Jamaat-e-Islami and Lashkar-e-Taiba operatives are now moving freely and that tens of thousands of terror convicts have been released. He says Lashkar has even taken credit for attacks linked to the Delhi blast and that Prime Minister Modi is very concerned about terrorism from Bangladesh right now.
Is Jamaat-e-Islam, which are the largest Islamic party, they have released tens of thousands of terrorists that our government had convicted and sentenced to prison. They've released them. You have Lashkar-e-Taiba operating freely now, and they've taken credit and links have been found to their branch in Bangladesh for the recent terror attacks in Delhi. So I think Prime Minister Modi is probably very, very concerned about terrorism from Bangladesh right now.
And Indian agencies are now confirming these fears. Yesterday, NIA has arrested Ikhtiar, a Bangladeshi national of Ansarullah Bangla team from Murshidabad for allegedly helping operatives who slipped into India from Rajshahi just days before the Delhi Red Fort blast. And today, ATS raided a firm named Istanbul International for allegedly running a printing press producing inflammatory material. The funding trail is now being re-examined to find links to ABT, LET and the Delhi blast module. Now listen to this. Weeks before the blast, the new Bangladesh government removed mandatory security checks on Pakistani nationals and shipments. Intelligence clearance for Pakistani visitors was abolished. Pak shipments stopped being inspected. And Indian agencies believe that this policy shift may have created a free corridor for Pakistan-backed groups to operate out of Bangladesh and push material into India. But the story doesn't end here. As a Hyundai i20 rigged with ammonium blows up near Red Fort, and investigating agencies uncover how this was orchestrated by a 10-member core Jaish-e-Mohammed module, including a chilling subgroup, the so-called terror doctors. They are uncovering a second, quieter corridor, the doctor degree route, used for years without scrutiny. From 1998 onwards, hundreds of Kashmiri students went to Pakistan for MBBS degree. Rawalpindi, Abbottabad, Faisalabad, Peshawar. Many were funded through Hawala channels linked to separatist networks. When scrutiny increased, the pipeline quietly shifted to Bangladesh, Dhaka, Sylhet, Rajshahi and Chittagong, where dozens of students enroll every year, often through the same facilitators. And now, after the Red Fort blast, agencies have discovered that educated professionals, including foreign-trained MBBS, doctors, were used as white-collar enablers, moving money, relaying communication, offering logistical support to handlers across the border. This is a new kind of terror recruit, not a foot soldier, but a white-collar enabler. This has triggered a nationwide audit. Hospitals have been directed to submit lists of all doctors trained in Pakistan and Bangladesh over the last 2 decades. Funding sources, admissions, foreign links, everything is being checked. Officials stress that the overwhelming majority are innocent, hardworking professionals. But the Delhi blast has shown that even a handful being compromised can create a national security threat. So tonight we look at the picture that is emerging. India is facing not one threat, but an entire South Asian terror corridor stretching from Rawalpindi to Dhaka, leaking into Bengal, UP and Delhi. Pak Minister Chaudhry Anwarul Haq has admitted to carrying out the Red Fort blast, and a Bangladeshi Lieutenant Colonel Hasinur Rahman, retired, has said they will continue giving shelter to terrorists and will not let India be at peace.
बोल के ये बात कही कि ये फितना खारिज नहीं है, फितना हिंदुस्तान है, इस खाकसार के पहले जुमले पर ये जुमले तब्दील हुए और रिकॉर्डर ने ये बात सुनी, तारीख ने, कि मैंने ये कहा कश्मीर हाउस में बैठ के कि अगर नहीं बाज आओगे बलूचिस्तान को ब्लीड करने से तो लाल किले से लेकर कश्मीर के जंगलों तक तुम्हें घुस के मारेंगे। और अल्लाह के फजल करम से इस गुनाहगार के लफ्जों की अल्लाह पाक ने हुर्मत रखी। चंद दिनों बाद हमारी मुसल्लह अफवाज ने, हमारे शाहीनों ने अंदर घुस के मारा।
আমরা ভারতের সন্ত্রাসীদের মাছ করে দিব, ভারত আগামী থাকবে না। আমি পরিষ্কার করে বলি, সেখান থেকে আনার জন্য ভারতীয় জনগণের সহায়তা প্রয়োজন। ভারতীয় জনগণ আমাদের ইনশাআল্লাহ সহায়তা করবে, পশ্চিমবঙ্গের লোক আমাদের সহায়তা করবে, আমরা ন্যায় বিচার পাবো। যদি না করে আমরা ভারতের সন্ত্রাসীদের মাছ করে দিব, ভারত আগামী থাকবে না। ধন্যবাদ।
So on this conversation, I'm joined by Sajeeb Wazed, author and senior journalist, and Ambassador Veena Sikri, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Thank you, both of you. Let me straight away go to Mr. Wazed. Sir, are we still stuck in the 1971 frame and the society of Bangladesh has moved forward, allowing this sort of a linkage to emerge?
India's 1971 moment has arrived. You know, why did India go into Bangladesh in 1971? To secure our north, east and east. Because rebel groups from these regions were receiving training, funding, equipment in what was then East Pakistan. You know, don't you ever forget that the father of Naga rebel movement, Angami Zapu Fizo, escaped from Nagaland into East Pakistan and went over to London to internationalize the Naga issue on a passport, fake passport provided by Pakistan's ISI. Then, of course, you come to the Mizo rebellion. So, make no mistake, Mr. Yunus is bringing back India's 1971 moment. And India will now have to face two fronts of Islamist terror in South Asia. Pakistan, of course, is always there. But now Pakistan, you know, is going to get back its eastern board, you know, to conduct all kinds of activities. And this is not something that is very unusual. Even after the independence of Bangladesh, whenever there has been an anti-Indian regime in Dhaka, and Madam Sikri will bear me out, you know, during the time of General Zia, General Ershad, subsequently Begum Zia, you know, government with Jamaat-e-Islami, BNP Jamaat-e-Islami, these elements have always received support. How can we forget the 10 truck loads of weapons which are meant largely for the Ulfa in Assam, which was making its way into Chittagong when the local police was not informed by Bangladesh military intelligence people. They went and seized these weapons and the whole thing fell through. But in that very case, the chief of Bangladesh Military Intelligence Agency, DGFI, Major General Rizakul Haidar Chaudhary, was booked. He was jailed during Sheikh Hasina's time. So, you know, some people fashionably say in Delhi that, you know, India should not put all its eggs in one basket. Dear sir, in Bangladesh, we have only one basket. If the Awami League and pro-liberation elements are not in power, the others who will come there are people like this joker, Hasinur Rahman, who you were showing. Who is this chap? You know, he is part of a core group which is headed by Jamaat-e-Islami's son, Brigadier Azmi, who, you know, was sacked from service during Sheikh Hasina's time, and who is now trying to raise an Islamist militia under the cover of raising a national armed reserve. So it's with Sarkari money, it's with government funds that a national armed reserve is being raised, and 8,800 boys, obviously these are Jamaat Shibir people. You know, it's a fashion in the West to say student uprising. What student uprising? There is no autonomous student politics either in Bangladesh or in West Bengal, okay? In Bengal, Bengalis are always politically affiliated. So out there, all those people you saw on the streets were people from madrasas were basically Jamaat and Shibir. You know, Islamic Chhatra Shibir is a Jamaat student wing. So here, let me make one thing clear.
Okay.
You know, the exchanges, high-level military exchanges between Pakistan and Bangladesh has multiplied exponentially since Yunus came to power. Yunus, when the Joint Chief of Staff General Shamshad Mirza was visiting, he even presented a book showing Northeast, you know, it's called The Art of Triumph. Yunus presented this book to General Shamshad Mirza of Pakistan, Joint Chief of Staff, Chairman Joint Chief of Staff, which shows Northeast, parts of Northeast in Bangladesh. Now, Yunus is not a fool, okay? He's a Nobel laureate, he's a PhD from America. And he knows exactly what he is doing. And he not only presented that book to General Mirza, he got it posted in the social media, his own
Absolutely.
social media handle.
Absolutely.
So here there are two things. A, there is a close coordination happening. Even I will not be surprised if in days to come, and if Yunus remains in power, courtesy his American masters, because he is not interested in elections, regardless of what he says. Because
Okay.
if there are
You said,
elections, he's gone.
Subhita, you said something important. We only have one basket in Bangladesh. Ambassador Sikri, we thought that perhaps we had one basket in Afghanistan, but we ended up doing business with Taliban. And the turnaround was visible in 20 days. Now, I'm running that invite. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is going to go to Dhaka. He's going to have a meeting very soon. He has been invited. So, do we really have one basket in Awami League? One, and secondly, how serious is this issue now with the revelations that are on the plate that we are talking about Bangladeshi linkages in context of terror?
I think, thank you for inviting me, and I thank Subir Bhawmik ji for giving all these details, which are absolutely correct. I can certainly say, as you have explained in the introduction, that the government of Bangladesh has been giving scholarships to students from Kashmir to study medicine in Bangladesh in various colleges, whether in Dhaka, Sylhet, Chittagong, and other places. So this has been going on for some time. Combined with this is the activities of the Hizb ut-Tahrir, which focus only on the educated people. Hizb ut-Tahrir's specialty, and this has been a banned terror group. Even the Americans have banned it, but now, of course, it's very, very active in Bangladesh. And in fact, the person whom Dr. Mohammed Yunus introduced as the mastermind behind the events of last July is Mahfouz Alam, who is now an advisor, and he's a member of the Hizb ut-Tahrir. So we know that these terrorist organizations who work entirely through the educated groups have now been increasingly active. The main thing to understand is that the events of last July were done by those who lost the 1971 Liberation War. And they are now trying to gain back whatever was there in the pre-1971 period. So that is why it is very clear that Pakistan and Bangladesh, Pakistan is putting all kinds of pressure on Bangladesh that they come back to the line that existed pre-1971, where Pakistan has full access and Pakistan is doing whatever they like, whatever actions against India through Bangladesh. I have seen this myself during the years I was High Commissioner in Bangladesh and Begum Khalida Zia was the Prime Minister. Because at that time the Pakistan government was equally active, and Begum Khalida Zia was allowing all these activities. And not only was the Pakistan army even trying to control promotions in the Bangladesh army, but the Pakistan government was regularly sending people through Bangladesh into India. And every terrorist attack in India in those days had a Bangladeshi footprint. So I think that we have to be very clear. We are facing this threat. This is a very real threat, and we have to tackle it immediately. As you have said, the NSA of Bangladesh, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, has been in India today, and even the Bangladesh papers have written about this, saying that while the Indian government had said that they will do business only with the elected government, but there are security issues which cannot wait. Security issues are immediate, and that is why today, the whole day today was devoted, because the meeting for which Dr. Khalilur Rahman is tomorrow, but today he was actually having talks with our NSA, Shri Ajit Doval ji, and surely covering all these security threats. Now, what the response of the Bangladesh government is, I don't know.
Okay, the visuals which we are running are very important because, the revelations have, or I would say the details have emerged that the specific question was asked of the army chief that do they require more police in front of Sheikh Hasina's house? And army said no extra police is required. And suddenly the army disappeared and they were able to breach into the Prime Minister's residence. So my question to Subir Bhawmik is, so how do you deal with this situation? What are India's options when there is an institutional support for Yunus from army and other entrenched, I would say, bureaucracies?
No, make no mistake. Yunus has got his own people in the army. General Walker, the army chief, and the chief of general staff, General Mizanur Rahman Shameen, Lieutenant General Mizanur Rahman Shameen, are both very close to our Awami League families. In fact, General Walker is related to Sheikh Hasina, and Mizanur Rahman Shamin's brother was an Awami League minister. They have been sidelined. And who is Yunus pushing? Lieutenant General Kamrul Hassan. Now, Kamrul Hassan is the principal staff officer in the Armed Forces Division of PMO, Prime Minister's office. But now there is no Prime Minister, so he's sitting in the office of the Chief Advisor, that is Yunus. Yunus sent him to Pakistan in January this year, which started the process of a mutual military outrage. And this has been followed up. Just look at this. In the last 2 months, there have been 3 high-level visits. First, General, it was an important Pakistani general, followed by General Shamshad Mirza's visit. And then now the Pakistan naval chief coming to Dhaka, all within 2 months, high-level visits. And agreements have been achieved in 4 areas. Intelligence cooperation. Now, intelligence cooperation against who? Obviously, India. And to the extent of not only sharing intelligence, but perhaps intelligence assets. So Lashkar-e-Taiba is an asset of the Pakistan intelligence. Maybe they will be an asset for Bangladesh and mutual.
Absolutely.
So intelligence cooperation. Secondly, training. More and more Pakistani officers will be involved in training Bangladesh military people, and more Bangladesh officers will be going to Pakistani military academies for higher level command courses, where the brainwashing will be duly done. You can understand. Number 3 is exercises, military exercises. More and more military exercises. Already the Bangladesh Navy was involved in the Aman exercises in Pakistan, in which the Chinese Navy and also the Sri Lankan Navy participated. And number 4, hardware procurement of military hardware. So Pakistan, it makes a lot of military hardware, China designed hardware. They're going to sell it. And the agreements that were signed with India will fall flat. So these are the 4 major areas. Now, let me give you a piece of information which our media has not been aware of. During the current visit, which just ended, Pakistan Naval Chief, a request has been made to Bangladesh
Pekua.
to provide berthing facilities for Pakistani submarines. The Pekua base, submarine base of Bangladesh, has 8 berths. Bangladesh has only 2 submarines. The remaining 6 berths are empty. Okay, now the Pakistanis are asking for berthing facilities. This is the first time the Pakistan Navy wants to send its submarines into the Bay of Bengal. For what? To create problems in our eastern seaboard. And they want berthing facility as well as the 2R facility, which is refit and refuel. Because then they will have a longer range, longer duration time of operation. So, it's not only, it's definitely in the area of formal military cooperation. But when you cooperate with Pakistan, you will automatically have, the other factor, which is Pakistan believes in asymmetric warfare, policy of 1,000 cuts vis-a-vis India.
Okay.
They will involve Bangladesh. And all previous anti-Indian governments in Bangladesh, Madam Sikri was there when Begum Zia was there, when all these terrorists were being provided, weapons, training, Paresh Barua was there. And he still has a Bangladesh passport, Kamruzaman Khan, which I have seen his passport, okay? Now, what I'm trying to say is, don't you ever forget that those guys who hijacked our IC-814 in 1998, from Nepal, they were first brought to Dhaka. In Dhaka, they were sheltered by the ISI station chief at that point of time, along with his lead agent, Muhammad Mushtaqid, who used to head, who was the owner of Kebab Ghar. I have all these details, okay? Point is, Pakistan has always seen Bangladesh, post-liberation Bangladesh as well, as the second front of Islamist terror in South Asia, to put India in a 2-front situation. Militarily, perhaps you cannot put India in a 2-front situation because the Bangladesh military, if they are not foolish, are not going to take on India in a conventional kind of a thing. But they can always do what Pakistan always does, asymmetric warfare. Pakistan even sends its regular military officers.
I'm running short of time, but you made a very strong point. But Ambassador Sikri, one, it's a question of radicalization, the doctors network that has, that has revealed. But the larger issue is, you have this government which is actively now not only training people in radical thoughts, but also will have the intent of pushing out those that have been released from the prisons in last 1 year. So what is the Indian red line? Is the Pekua the red line? What has happened in the doctor's module is the red line?
Jashimuddin Rahmani, just a minute. They have released Ansarullah Bangla team, which you are referring to. Their chief has been released.
Yes, that is what that is the question to Ambassador Sikri. Yes, absolutely, that is the question to Ambassador Sikri.
And you are given a military helicopter to go to his mother's namaz-e-janaza in one of the districts.
Absolutely. So, Ambassador Sikri, what is the Indian red line?
These are all Indian red lines. And I think the NSA would have been pointing these out clearly. He would have been reading the Riot Act to the NSA of Bangladesh and clearly stating that India is not going to allow these red lines to be breached in this manner. And if they are breached, then Bangladesh will have to face the consequences. I think that is absolutely clear. India is not going to allow it to happen. India has exercised a lot of strategic restraint with Bangladesh. We offered them full continuation of economic cooperation. But in return for it, the Bangladesh regime led by Mohammed Yunus and infiltrated completely by Pakistan. And, even Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba are making statements from West Pakistan saying that, we have our people now in East Pakistan and we're going to attack India from there. Asim Munir has made a statement that they're going to attack India from the east. So I think that these have to be taken into very serious cognizance and preparations. First, we have to warn them, and then, of course, we have to make the preparations to tackle the situation. There is no way out that we can allow the situation to continue. They are threatening from Lal Munir Haat. They are threatening to take over. Mohammed Yunus tells the Chinese that northeast of India belongs to us, and we are the only ones who have access, and so on and so forth. So I think India has already started the process. We know that there are a larger number of garrisons coming up in Dhubri, in Assam, in Kishanganj, and in West Bengal. There are very serious measures the government is taking. We've had a great show of strength in the Guwahati air show. All these are there. India is taking it very seriously. But what I'm trying to say is that these red lines, Bangladesh must know that if they cross them or if they continue to behave like this, there will be consequences.
There should be consequences. Thank you both of you. I've really run short of time. There should be consequences for Bangladesh. The doc terror module and the related information that has come out and the steps that the Yunus government has taken, they have breached the red line and steps should be taken.